Catch up on all the live shows right here on africatechradio.com.
Yes, guys, welcome to Cruise Control. My name is Buki, your host as usual. It's time for us to speak to some of the iconic people doing innovative stuff. I mean, shakers, movers in the tech space. And right now, I'm moving into farmlands, guys, because Africa is green. I just feel like singing, the land is green. Don't mind me. But the land is definitely green. And of course, innovation is what everybody is all about right now, revolutionizing almost every sector. And the farmlands are far from technology right now, seeing the world of farming taking shape in different forms, and people applying different innovative ways by which our produce can be more healthy, more fresh, and of course we can live longer. So joining me today on the show, I have my friend who is a farmer joining Cruise Control, and we're going to be having conversation on the life of a modern farmer. I know most people right now, when you ask them, they'll be like, I don't want to be a farmer. When we're in school, people don't even raise their hand to be a farmer. Everybody wants to be doctor, lawyer, and engineer. But we'll get to find out how my guest, his name is Shedrach, and he's going to be telling us how he found himself in the world of farming and how farming has been for him so far so good. Welcome, Shedrach. Hi.
Hi, Bukola. Good day.
Good day. Good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, I just have the nudge to call you Agbe. In Yoruba, it means farmer. And there's a song that says, Isha Agbe, Isha Ilewa. That means the work of a farmer is the work of our land. Like I said in the intro, the land is green. So welcome. How are you feeling today? I usually like to ask so I can know maybe there's a thing or two I need to do to spice up your day for you. How is your day going?
My day has been eventful with so many other things, but in general it has been a decent day. So I'll say it's good.
Good.
Yeah, so this should top it up. This is the cherry.
Really good. Good to have you and making Africa Tech Radio be the cherry on your day. Feels so good. And I can see some people are joining us. I want to say a big welcome to you guys. Thanks for joining us. Only. But there will be some rules because we usually don't do this. This is an exception for today. So for this, I would want you, in case you have any question for my guest, just drop your question in comments. I will take that. But right now, I'll just be having the conversation with Shedrach, the Yoruba in me, Shedrach. Yeah. So I'm going to be having the conversation with him, and of course, you can participate, but I'll have to give permission for that. Clear on it? I believe so. So you were telling me about your day. So typically, I want to jump into the conversation right away. What's the day? What does the day of a farmer? What does it look like? A typical day.
Okay. First off, there's this notion folk have about farmers and be like, oh, they go into the bush, they all dress ragged, and they have their farmer's hat and everything. Yeah, some days are like that, but it's not every day they're like that. The little ones we can do here and there to plant for the little community we have around us to eat. So my day is typically just chill. If I need to go to the farm, I will just get into the truck, drive to the farm, which is an amazing sight, by the way. When you're driving, you see the old nice greeneries and what have you. And you get to the farm and it's basically just chilled. Like, there is nothing to entertain every day. So there are days that you get your hands dirty. There are days you just go to the farm, stay under the cashew tree, enjoy the breeze. And if there's some palm wine around, you take some palm wine. So it's basically just chilled.
I feel envious with the last statement, though. I feel envious. I wish they can just send palm wine to my work. I think I'll be working 10 times harder if that is happening here. So I feel envious of you having that kind of life. I mean, it's just interesting. So what got you interested in farming? Has that always been something you've loved from childhood, or how did you find yourself in farmlands?
I grew up in an environment where we didn't even have any farms around. I grew up in the city of Lagos, and Oshodi to be precise. So where do you want to see the greeneries? So farming was more or less like, we always frown at it and be like, nah, it's not for me and everything. And then I went to university. I studied geophysics, and I was at my dad's place a while ago. I think about 5-6 years ago, and we're at just a small farm, and we're harvesting cassava. And I kind of liked that I was having that moment with my dad. So it was interesting harvesting cassava here and there. I just felt like, okay, this is interesting. Then a friend introduced me to catfish farming, and I just saw that I could do it as a passive, something I could just do at my leisure. And that was how I got into catfish farming, to be precise. And that was how we came about Skyminds Agro. So all this happened in between 2017 and 2019.
So far so good. How has it been, the catfish farming? I see you actually picked a different type of farming, which is the livestock farming. So how has it been, especially looking at the economic of things?
It's been a journey, and it's been quite interesting and lots of learning. One thing about catfish farming is going to teach you patience. So I've learned to be more patient with not just farming, but in life generally. And I think every farmer will agree with me that that's one thing about farming. Looking at it from how the economy is right now, it's been challenging, honestly, because you're having the constant changing in prices of goods, prices of commodities, and you need to pay your staff salary, and which is amazing. So it's been challenging economically, it's challenging trying to see about the whole system. So it's not just about growing fish anymore for us. It's about how can we add to improve the protein intake in Nigerians. So that's the stage we're at right now.
Protein is very, very important. I think that's one class of food my dad taught me to love, and I like the fact that you're taking it very, very serious. I can see a couple of people joining us. I want to say welcome to Michelle, Adedeji, also welcome. A couple of people have been in and out. If you have any comments, please drop it. Hi, Michelle. I want to say a big welcome to everybody again. And we have Shedrach on the hot seat with me. And he's been talking about the life of a farmer and how he got into farming. And of course, he has been doing this since 2017. I feel like I'm envious of his lifestyle because Shedrach just spoke about having palm wine at the end of the day. Can you imagine? Like fresh, everything fresh, and then you have to support it with some catfish. And you spoke about some lesson you gained from actually practicing this livestock farming, which is patience. So I want to go into the challenges. What are the challenges you really experience on the farmland, having to deal with producing catfish in variety of numbers? I don't even know the numbers. Maybe it's big scale or small scale. So let's talk about the challenges and how you've been able to deal with it.
Okay. For us at our farm, we always want to produce a minimum of 7,000 every quarter, and that's our goal. So the challenges involved in this is number one, funding, because we don't have investors from outside. We are self-funding ourselves, so sometimes it's a bit tough. You can expand how you want to expand. Number two is light. So electricity. It's another factor because you really want to grow the business beyond some environment that you find yourself in. But because you don't have certain things, you can't do that. For instance, you want to produce your feeds yourself. So feeds are what does fish eat? So we call them feeds. So let's say the fish food, that's what they eat. So you would want to produce these things yourself, but because you don't have the constant electricity to navigate these things, you tend to take a step back, and getting your own solar to power these things are going to be hell expensive. So you want to avoid as much cost as possible. So it's one of the factors, and the major factors is the fact that we, the farmers, we don't set the price when we want to sell. So the off-takers are the ones who set the price. So you might come to my farm and I'm telling you I want to sell for 1,500 per kg, and you'll be like, no, Oga, I buy a 1 for the other farm. Now, if you tell the other person to leave, and the person goes to the market and tell everybody, that guy now 1.5 you want to sell, you want, nobody is going to come back to want to buy from you. And at that point, you're left with just having your fish, you're feeding them, because fish doesn't just grow in a day. It takes about an average of 4 months for you to get a reasonable size, a table size fish. And that's a big factor, considering you have to feed them, you have to pay staff salary, you have to put things in order, and many of those things. But again, what we've tried to do at Skymind is we've tried our possible best to reduce our costs in terms of production. We had to neglect anything that has to do with petrol, diesel for our water, because our land doesn't have a running water like river or whatever. So we had to get our own borehole, we had to lay our own pumps, our own pipes, and whatever. And we've just been trying to just do everything we can with little or no costs.
I like the fact that you're looking for alternative, which is one thing we do here. Talking about the way technology is helping us with shortcuts. Basically, people are applying technological solutions, and I would like to know what technological solutions you've actually laid your hand on or tried, and has it worked for you? And if it hasn't, did you opt for other options? Please share with us.
Okay, so the one technology we went for, and I'm so proud of us that we went for that, was using solar to power our farm. And many people were like, oh, it's too cost, it's too this, when we were about setting up our farm. And that just saved us a whole lot. Because at that point, the fuel price, I think, was still around 180 something or 150 something there, but I can't remember. And I was just thinking in my head that definitely one day they are going to remove this subsidy and things are going to be crazy in this country. At that point, diesel was going up, and I said, okay, let's just go all in. What do we need? We need solar to power water. Water is the most essential thing we needed for our farm. And we went for that. And even for the office area and the security area, we still went for what are they calling it? Solar. And it's served us. And I don't think at that farm we've ever bought anything that has to do with fuel or diesel. And that's a plus. One thing we opted for in terms of technology was using recreational ponds. So people call it trampolines. And at that time, it seemed like a great idea. But right now, it's not so much of a great idea, considering many factors that are at play with us. We're looking at environment, we're looking at the climate change. Many of those factors are not helping us maximize what we have. So other people might not see it as technology, but for me, it is a technology, using trampoline ponds, because it has its pros and its cons. But right now, because of factors that I listed, climate change, environment, and even down to the seeds. When I mean seeds, we're talking about the fingerlings or the juveniles we buy to grow this fish into the big fish you have. So that's one thing we've done, and we're looking at how we can just manage with going back to the old way, which is put them in the eating pond, let them play in there. So that's a few I can think of right now.
All right. While you were just talking, I'm just thinking everything you've been saying is around catfish, and the popular word around catfish is, before I break it, do you know the popular word around catfishing?
I actually don't. I don't know. Please.
I think you know. You can share with me the idea you have in your head.
Is it not when a guy is trying to be a woman? I don't know if I'm correct.
Oh, kind of, yeah. So it's not just guys. It's like when somebody is trying to be something else online, basically. You're portraying things that are not authentically yours. So that's catfishing. So I'm thinking, this is just off topic. I'm just joking, by the way. Have you ever tried that, catfishing anybody online?
No, that's never crossed my mind.
Has anyone ever catfish you?
None that I can think of right now.
When you think of catfish, you only think of your business, your farmlands. Wow, such a serious man.
Well, I don't really just think about my business and everything. I see catfish as the word, the word once in a while. Mind that people do catfishing and all those things, but catfish on its own it's such an amazing blessing to Nigeria, and we don't know yet. It's amazing. We produce this thing more than any nation on earth, yet it's not enough for even us. So you can imagine the opportunities in there and the benefits, the health benefits in catfish as well. So don't mind me when I think about it. It's so serious. It's so much of a serious case.
Yeah, it's a serious thing because nutritious. So I'm going to come to the nutritional values. But first, I want to ask you around Skyminds Agro. How did you come up with the name?
Okay.
What was the inspiration?
Okay, so the name was coined by me and a dear friend of mine, William. That was way back in 2011. So it was actually a different company then. It was not an agro firm. So just Skymind concept. We were into something entirely different back then. And I just felt like, the name is quite unique, and I just moved it to this. So the name came as a result of we wanted to do a sharp business, and I think we were tipsy, we were drunk actually. We were in a bar, and we had to we had to give them an invoice the following day. I was just like, but the sky is not bad though. Don't mind me.
Because you guys are already in the sky.
Yeah, you understand. It's not bad though. So then he responded, don't mind me. Then I also like, guy, not bad if we just do Skyminds and voila. So it didn't come out of any deep thoughts. It came out of alcohol.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Pretty interesting story.
Yeah, thank you.
I can't even imagine how many people are sleeping on their bottles rather than using it to think. Well, great things comes out of bottle like Skyminds. And let's talk about the nutritional value of catfish, because I know there are varieties of fishes, but you specifically just want to groom these catfishes and put them in the market. So what are the values that the consumers are going to get from not just patronizing you, but consuming this product?
Okay, so first off, I'll give a bit of stats on our protein intake in Nigeria. About 92 million people, Nigerians, don't eat protein. 92.
But they eat beans.
Well, they eat beans, but 92%. And this stats
they opt for rice.
We eat more of carbohydrate.
Okay, agari.
About 45% of Nigerian population. This stats is 2020. I don't know the percentage as of this year, and it's a concern for me personally. Proud to know, I never used to be a fan of catfish. I recently became a fan of catfish because I discovered new ways to eat them, rather than eat them in that raw form, just grilled and everything, which is amazing when you're having it with friends and a bottle of beer or whiskey. It's amazing. But I discovered that when you now take it into the oven, you smoke it, and everything is dried, and you just bring it out, and you hear that lovely sound. When you're cracking it, you hear that amazing sound. There is something it does to you. It just tastes amazing because it is one of the most healthier. It is the healthiest protein you could think in Nigeria. It is as well rich in a lot of vitamins that you could think of, and it is very good for the heart, good for our blood. It's good for our brains. So you can imagine that in Nigeria we use too much of our brain, especially in Lagos. People use too much of their brains because they're always on the move, on the go. They're thinking about how to go about things, how to do this, how to do that. And catfish is just the right fit for us, especially in Nigeria.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
the fact that it's actually good for the brain work also. I'm just looking at the world of catfish, and I remember when I was younger, very little. So apparently, I think this is a confession. My dad was into agriculture, but it was more like training the chicks to chicken, then selling to bigger markets. He sells the chicken, he sells the eggs. And when my dad died, my mom wanted to pick up. But I want to tell you, it's not an easy fate for something that you have no prior likeness to, even if you have understanding of the market. And also, nothing prepares anyone for loss of your livestock. Especially, there are times it will be climate issues. Sometimes you will lose them to maybe uncertainties. Have you experienced any of these critical losses of your livestock, and how were you able to manage the loss?
Okay. The most vivid one was in 2021, May 2021, and that was a few days to my birthday. So we lost over 5,000 pieces of fish.
5,000.
Yeah, over 5,000.
How many trampoline was that?
Oh, then we were using the netting pond. So
That's a lot.
yeah, so we lost over 5,000 pieces of fish. And so through negligence by the farm supervisor at that time. And when that happened, we just had to be quick in decision making. So it's either we just go for a loss entirely, or just take them as they had and smoke them, then sell them in the markets. Funny thing, then I wasn't used to smoking. I didn't know so much about smoking. So we got people to come smoke for us at the farm there, and the smoke entirely rubbish.
Wow.
The smoke was horrible. The smoking was horrible, and I and one of my colleagues, I think he might probably be on this call, and we drove all the way to the farm and to take all this fish because it was a roller coaster. The farm was far from us, and it was just an horrible experience. And we lost so much money. Imagine having that lot of fish in over 3-4 months old fish, and they are dying at one stretch. It was terrible, but I didn't stop at that. I think after that time, we decided to say, okay, let's bring the farm closer. And I went harder again, even after that loss. So probably I have coconut head.
Or you were more passionate about seeing the business grow. Something about vision, I believe, is no matter what is in front of you, meaning your obstacle, your hurdles, if the vision is ingrained in your heart, you would definitely want to see it through. You would want to jump through any thick forest or to just achieve that thing. So I guess that was what was going through your mind. You were never going to give up because 5,000 fishes died. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I think why I'm saying this is not that I'm that wise of a girl in farming. It's just that I had the experience growing up where we had fire incidents at the poultry and we lost so many grown chickens, like so many. And I saw my dad, like, never seen him that sad. It felt like he was close to the chickens more than he was close to his money. And this grown man was close to tears. So I can understand what was going through your mind. But the next year, it was back to doing the same thing, training them from chick to chicken. And I think it's amazing. What connection do you usually feel? Because when people train, especially live animals, like cows, goats, there is certain relationship they start having with these animals. Do you at some point ever have relationship with these fishes?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so this may sound weird, but I remember a couple of times I'll head to the farm, stay around the fish, the trampolines, and I'll just play music from my phone. I'll play music from my phone and I'll just be with them, like just let them please have some fun in their life. it's funny. I'll just like play some music, let them have some fun, because those animals, they are intelligent and in their own way they are. And I think the days that I feel so much pain for them is when you're coming to take them from the farm, like buy them from the farm. And I'll just see how all the buyers are coming to, They don't carry them with care. I'll just be like, come on, stop that. Carry it properly. Do it like that. And it's a living thing. You're going to definitely have this emotional connection with them. And I don't like staying around where they are being killed. I just feel like, I have these guys at the farm. So I think at a point we started naming some of the fish as well.
Wow.
At our farms we name our ponds. So you see, you go there, it's like this show from the Spanish TV where I think La Capan something. So you have Tokyo, you have Russia, you have Poland, you have different.
So you squid off the fishes.
Yeah.
You play squid games with your fishes. Interesting. Very, very interesting. I mean, it would be amazing to just step into your farmlands, playing songs, playing music for your fishes. I've never heard something like that, but I'm sure they definitely connect with you somehow, some way.
Yeah.
So now you talked about one of the challenges being funding. So what's really going on? Because even when I put up the post on social media, I know being in the tech space for over a year now, I've seen a lot of people raising funds. I know the guys in the fintech industry, it doesn't even take them much of a hassle to raise seed funds, and you see people moving from Series A to B to C and the likes of it. And when we look at the farming sector, it's very rare, but I don't want to say it's impossible, because I've seen a couple of people raise funds, especially around the continent, not just Nigeria. So what do you think is stopping people, especially farmers in Nigeria? Or what's the hurdle or barrier that is not making VCs or investors look at that sector as much as they look at the fintech sector?
Okay, that's a very, very interesting question, and I'm going to put in like two parts. The first part I'll put is our predecessors, those that were in the farming game before we decided to come. They did terrible job in a way. Many of them were liars. Let's leave it at that.
Liars?
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
such a strong word. Please.
It is, and I'll tell you why. Many folks did crowdfunding, and crowdfunding was a way of raising funds, raising capital to help your business. But at the end of the day, you see many of those folks, they didn't use the money for what it was supposed to be used for. You promise people percentages you can't fulfill in 3 months, in 2 months, and just particular to poultry farmers. You tell them that you give them 15% in this period of time, which is economically impossible to do. So that has put so much skepticism in many potential investors. And farming is not something that is clear. You could have, for example, we lost 5,000 pieces of fish. Did we anticipate that? No, we didn't. What we now later discovered was that we need to be insuring our produce.
Insurance.
Insurance. We need to, but before you claim that insurance is another problem. But let's leave that for another day. But the thing is, you're insuring them. You're insuring your produce. But again, like I said, many of these predecessors, they gave too much hope to where they shouldn't have to potential investors. People are still in trouble trying to give back their investors their money. And here you are, you're trying to solicit for funds. Everybody will be skeptical about it. They will be skeptical about it, but it doesn't mean that people are not raising funds. They're raising funds from grants and what have you. And personally, I believe in the school of thought where you need to get to a certain level before people feel like they can come and help you. That's the funny thing I think of life in general. And it's arguable. You can argue it. And I would say people want to invest. They are telling you that they want their money in a very short period. Many people that have come to me that they want to invest, they want their money in a short period. I can't guarantee you that. If you're coming in, come get equity. If you're getting equity, it's going to be a ride. It's going to be a long journey. But because right now we did a bit of a pivot into getting not just growing fish, but making fish available in the littlest form we can make it available, which is fillet. My guys at the office, they call it aquatic crunches. since the whole margarita and everything is online now. So we're calling it aquatic crunches. So it's an easy to eat food, and investors find it interesting because this is a go-to-market fit. It's not just about you growing fish. So most times, the reason investors are not coming in is because they don't see a business in it yet. They just feel like you're doing it in a regular way. But right now that we've shifted our focus, people are more interested to say, okay, let's get this and this done, and you guys, we can see how we can invest in you guys, which is a plus. So sometimes it's not just them investing in farming, it's because they are not seeing it as a business. They are seeing it as, okay, you're just doing farming, it's fine. So people want to see that, oh, you have a business that can bring in cash flow, that people can buy on the go, that people can do this way, do that way. So that's just the difference, I would say.
I think that's actually relatable, yeah, because so many of the VCs, I do read newsletter, and I would see some of them are the adverse risk. Sometimes they are skeptical about it. Like you said, the predecessors, they've had like some shady workings with investors in the past. So most times investors are looking to put their money on something with guaranteed risk. It's not like there's no risk, but it's more like it's guaranteed. Another one is, I saw a YC Combinator investor talking about how he's never going to put his money on any founder who is still on the streets. I mean, on the streets, meaning you're still out partying, enjoying your life and the likes of it. But just thinking about how you told me Skyminds Agro was actually coined over sharing a bottle of beer with your friends. Do you think that the investor is correct, or his mindset is in the right angle when it comes to investing in younger people, in startups, with the words he said?
He may have a point, but I honestly think it's different because this was years ago. Like I said, the name has been in there.
You don't just want to look at it from that angle. Say, I think this is different.
The name came out years ago when I was still, not that I'm not still young, I'm 25, so let's leave it like that. Don't argue my age.
I'm not arguing. Anything you say, I agree. Zachary is actually laughing at you right now. Don't mind him. Stay young forever.
Yeah, this was years ago. This was 2009 or 2010 that we came up with the name. And right now, different. I can't even remember the last time I took alcohol.
So you're off the streets. Is that what you're saying?
I'm off the street, my dear. I'm off the street.
So your edge is now in your startup. Is that?
Yeah, but the YC VC has a very good point because we live in a world where everybody is trying to, show that I have wealth, I have this, I have that, and be like I'm the life of the party, and they go take investors' money and go blow it up in places like Queen Locks, Beer Barn, Click. So you don't want that. So yeah, I get his point. Yeah.
So if we're not doing livestock farming, which other type of farming would you have loved to go into?
Apart from livestock, I think crop farming. We do crop farming, by the way. We do corn, but these are seasonal. We do, but I think if I'm not into livestock farming, I would be. God, almost everything that is coming to mind is livestock, but I think I'll be in crop farming because there's a really good opportunity in crop farming, especially in Nigeria. We have so much lands, unusable lands, but insecurities are killing us.
I can imagine insecurity mixed with transportation of your goods, because right now, especially in Nigeria, we're talking about the fuel subsidy, and a lot of people, the means of transportation has quadrupled, if not even gone beyond the number I cannot pronounce. Yeah. So let's quickly touch on the market point. How is it like dealing with merchants? How is it like trying to get your livestock or goods to the market to people who really need it? And how have you been able to, before I move to the brand, let's just look at how you've been able to market this produce to people who really need it, especially the products where you have the fish fillet.
Okay, so at Skymind, the fish fillet is quite new. We came about it in February, March. thereabout. So it's quite new, and we're still trying to find that market fit. So far we've been speaking to stores in Abuja, little other stores in Lagos that can help us. But in the meantime, most of I think 95% of our sales has come from online. And so we've been trying to utilize online campaigns, online ads to sell these products, and which is a good thing because that helps us so much in terms of brand reach and how our consumers can have personal relationship with us and not go through the back door. That's going about it, but we're looking at getting more people to help out. So we're trying to reach out to partnership influencers who are into the agro space to partner with us and help us get a much larger customers. So that's what we've been doing.
That's really good. I mean, that's also one tech tool you're utilizing, taking advantage of, which is the social media platforms. I think that's a great way to connect with people globally and locally, and that's also a great way to market your produce. And you've also touched on branding. I know with social media you just have to keep coming up with ways that your brand can get attention, and you've also touched on how you seek influencers. Because we're running out of time, I'll quickly ask anyone in the house who would like to ask a question. I put up a post. You can just identify by raising up your hand if you have any question for Shedrach before he runs out of this line. Okay. Yeah, please, Femi, you can go ahead. You can put on your mic and speak. Any questions
Hello,
for
good
Shedrach?
afternoon.
We can hear you. Good afternoon.
So mine would rather be a form of a comment than a question. So a very quick one, because of time.
Yeah.
When it has to do with major challenge they are facing right now is investment. That means funds.
Yeah.
Because you cannot dissociate funds from turnover or business activity. So the impediment about investors not coming into that specific space might not perhaps or in absolute terms be as a function of previous activity of local farmers. Yeah.
So you don't agree with the statement about the predecessor?
No, I never said I don't. It might not just be the major, right?
Okay,
Might not be the major. So here's the thing: the problem has been on for decades, and it's just because that farmers, tech farmers, subsistence farmers, commercial farmers, put their head on the business, they put their eyes on the stock, on the crop, and they are not looking what's obtainable in the world. So a very quick one. An investor will need your book of accounts. What have you done for decision making? Where's your weak point? Where do you need help? Is it in terms of feed? Do you need to get more fingerlings? In terms of infrastructure? And these things are not done except you have an adequate and appropriate bookkeeping, right? That is one. Another thing is business structure. That is incorporation. Now, because most of them don't get the presence of government coming to their offices and all of those things, there's no form of incorporation, no form of compliance certification, no tax return, no NSITF, the BP certification is not there. So what it does to an investor is that there's no security. That means you're very volatile. You are not tied to a legal entity where you can be represented by the company or elsewhere, something to lay hands on. That is one. Another thing is the ownership structure. Ownership structure in the sense that I can bet you, except the big cats, whose ownership structure is such that we have shareholders and they are PLC. 60-70% of farmers, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, are self-owned. So what happens to an investment? What happens to going concern? So you want me to invest in a particular person and the person goes off the stage and that my fund goes out? No. So here's the thing, when it has to do with ownership structure, even if there's a fund, I'm a financial person, I'm a financial expert. I'm the MD of Famidollah Femi Consulting, a very good friend of Shedrach. So, as I say, regardless of the fund that you have, business-wise, it's also good to stagger your capital, debt a bit, capital a bit. Yeah. So in capital structure, I don't want to go into details. You discover that even debt can account for 70% and your equity can account for 80%. What that does for you as an entrepreneur is that it keeps you on your toe that I'm reporting to people. I need to make profit. Okay. It's not that, okay, I can chase losses. No. At some point, you cannot chase losses. Okay. You need to mitigate against every foreseeable risk, except the random risks that are very cyclical. They're not seasonal. Cyclical can be in 4-5 years due to unknown events, viruses, whatever it is, So another thing I also quickly run through is the insurance. Insurance should be the bedrock of every enterprise that is very risky and such as agribusiness. I don't expect that because you asked Shedrach a particular point that, okay, have you made a loss? If you have made a 5,000 loss at a particular point, what you are telling to the public is that, okay, this thing could repeat itself. Thank God he quickly said he's done insurance, and of course there are bottlenecks when it comes to insurance and getting your claim. Those bottlenecks has been removed because insurance is not a private business.
Yeah.
In the last couple of months, I've changed insurance, personal insurance that I'm having. Now I'm the Leadway. I used to be with ARM. They are lobbying. There's a window of transfer, and even as a business. So I can go on and on and
I
on.
know there's so much wisdom in what you're saying, and I really like the fact that you are emphasizing on some of the points you mentioned, because you could have gone past our heads with, okay, a farmer could lose, but then coming up with the insurance and also letting us know that insurance is not something that you just overlook just because of the way your perception towards it. So maybe some other time we'll definitely have a more ingrained conversation on insurance, especially for farmers. Thank you so much, Mr. Femi. I really appreciate it. Being a friend of Shedrach, I know that they said, show me your friend and I'll show you the direction you're going. So, Shedrach, I can see. Do you have anything to support what Mr. Femi just said?
Oh, yeah. Mr. so much. He's a dear friend of mine. And he made mention of a very good point, which is bookkeeping. At first, when we started, it was just like, oh, let's get this business doing. Like, I'm a math person. I like knowing the numbers to be sure that I'm not going to run into deep mess or anything. I like numbers. I like to know things. But I discovered that we were not doing proper bookkeeping. But these days, for the past 2 years, even down to the water we buy. If we buy pure water, we always put it there. Yeah. And be like, yeah, we bought this and that and that. So it's very vital. And many farmers that are around are not doing that, which is very tough. So in the long run, which is next year, we intend to even do a system for small scale farmers to help them with their bookkeeping. That's one thing we're looking at, because we want to look at not just farming itself or catfish itself. We want to look at how farmers can be helped with their bookkeeping and so on. And since Mr. Femi is here, I'm throwing it openly. He's going to partner also.
You're throwing your hook. Okay.
Yeah, so because we need to help people. So it's going to be more or less like a SaaS-based platform where we can help very small scale farmers, help them keep their books in place and just help them grow. They have a track record of what they are spending on and how much they are making as well.
I like the fact that you're looking out for other farmers, because this is all about the life of a modern farmers. But then we cannot forsake those who are still using the old practices that is really not working for them. But you'd find out that some of them, it's not working, but they really don't even know the solution to their problems. And Mr. Femi threw a solution about bookkeeping, writing everything to the deeds, ensuring that everything is being recorded. And the next move is to look at how farmers can implement this method and how proper bookkeeping, simplified bookkeeping, would be ensured for all farmers. I really enjoyed today's conversation. I would like maybe any advice for, aside bookkeeping, for other farmers out there who are going to stumble on this. For whosoever would like to take a replay, you can replay this session, and you can also follow us on Africa Tech Radio on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We bring people who are doing innovative stuff to speak, and of course I'm looking at a future where we're definitely going to have a thing for farmers basically, so there will be a lot of knowledge to share on this platform. But before we run out, any other advice, any other comments or a question? We can take a quick one before time. Yeah.
Okay. From me or from someone else?
Shedrach, let's go first from you. Advice to farmers out there, to people who are people who have been thinking of going into farming.
The advice I will give is farming is good. That's one advice I will give. It's good. But one thing about farming, if you don't do it well, if you don't do it properly, you're going to become more poorer than you were. That's one. So you need to put in proper planning. And you need to know your market. You need to know your market. You should do something that has a market fit already, so you don't try and struggle around it. Then also, for anyone intending to go into catfish farming, don't let anybody tell you that you can become a millionaire overnight. That's a big lie. That's a big lie. There is a lot of work involved, and you need to know the right seeds to use. You need to know the kind of land you want to use, the sort of farming mechanism you want to engage in. And even for crop farming, you need to as well know the kind of lands you need to use as well. And invest in yourself. Learn a whole lot. Invest in short courses. Try to understand the basic things of running a business, because as a farmer, you're not just a farmer, you're a business person. Invest in yourself a lot. I think that we do.
Thank you very much. Anyone would like to leave a call? Oh, I can see Abiodun. Abiodun, please go ahead, but make it quick.
Yeah, good afternoon, Bukola. Good afternoon, Shedrach.
Thanks for joining us.
My question is this, because I remember growing up, my uncle actually used to have a fish pond, and me and his son, anytime we visit the farm, we can quickly just take probably 2-3 fishes out of the pond. We take it to beer parlor to trade. We use some to trade for beer. So, Shedrach, my question is this: how do you, when it comes to chicken, cows, all those things, you can easily take record of the livestock. But in terms of fish, I don't think it's that easy. So, how do you manage? How do you cope with your workers? Do you think probably they wouldn't be doing things like that behind you?
Okay. To quickly answer your question, what we did was create a system. If you remember, I gave an example of us naming our ponds. The name we gave our ponds was to help us in our Excel sheet. So we have a number of how many fish are in the pond. So for instance, let's say 1,000 in each pond. So every month, like every end of the month, or let's say between the space of 2 months, we try to sort. So sorting is a way to know the big and the small ones among the fish. So we do sorting. And in doing sorting, we get account of the numbers of fish still available. And every dead one that we see in the pond, we bring them out and record them that, from this 1,000, one is dead. So it turns to 999. So that way it helps us to keep a record. So when we're about selling and we're seeing that the number of the fish in the pond is 800 against 900 from our record, something is off. I mean, stealing has occurred somewhere or something has happened somewhere. So it helps us with our record, and doing that just saves you a lot of trouble. So it's hard work, but it helps.
Abiodun, is that a good answer for you? I can see.
Shedrach, fish actually feed on each other. So the moment any one of them have a mark or probably is dead, they feed on it. So.
Yeah, we have a short time. I would have given you lots of breakdown, but
okay, don't worry. I think I'll let Shedrach share his social handles. So this conversation, I really wish we can carry on. I could see Itodo Joy. I would really love to permit, but please, can you make it quick? Just a minute, Mr. Femi again. Okay, let's do this quick one. 1 minute, 1 minute. I'm timing you.
Okay. This is Dr. Itodo from the Federal University of Latvia. I'm a veterinary doctor by profession. Yeah, I'm a veterinary doctor by profession, and I just want to make, it's not a question, it's just a
comment. Go ahead.
I want to Ocheje from where he started from, because he started this journey. It hasn't been easy, and I like the fact that he always kept using professionals. You can't say you want to start a fish farming without using professionals. The position or the place for a professional advice a professional consultation can never be overemphasized. So it will be very good for young farmers coming up to, don't just go for people that will tell you that, I have experience and all. Meet people that know much, they have studied about this, and they could really advise you in any challenge you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Joy. That was a very good comment. Take advice from professionals and seek professional support. Mr. Femi, would you like to drop your last comment? I think Mr. Femi is the last person I would be taking comment from. I really appreciate everyone who joined in, and thanks for your comment also. Mr. Femi, you have the floor.
So, okay, thank you. I'm going to make it this real quick. Thank you, Shedrach, for the great work you're doing. It's a great time. I'm not a farmer, right? I'm just a finance person. So, Biodun asked the question of basically, how do you account for, in as much as those fishes are very small, you might not be able to account for losses. But now, I would suggest that you just have to do when it comes to agric, costing to the basics is very important. Okay, so we call it activity-based costing, ABC. You know how much you bought those fish, you know how much each fish costs. So you cascade the unit cost for the fish, what it takes to feed. It's just an Excel template, and by the time you're selling, you can actually even get your margin on a fish. Because agriculture, when it comes to accounting, it's a specialized kind of accounting, and it's costing activity based. Thank you. Don't let me go more on that.
Thanks, Mr. Femi, for your financial advice. Abiodun, I'm sure you're getting good responses from Shedrach, Mr. Femi, and of course Dr. Joy. Shedrach, please share your social media handle for anyone who would like to continue this conversation, or probably drop a hand of support in what you're doing. So what are your social media handle, and how can they link up with you?
Okay, our social media handle is at Skyminds Agro on every social media thread, everywhere you can think about. So you can reach us on our website to skymindagro.com, and my personal social media handles are at Umona18 on IG, and same on Twitter as well, at Umona18.
All right.
Then Shedrach Ocheje. Yeah.
All right. It's been a wonderful session. I really want to say I enjoyed this more than any person listening or who is going to listen to this. It's quite educational and very informative. Thanks to Mr. Femi for giving some financial advice, and Dr. Joy also with some expertise advice, and Abiodun for a very, very intelligent and absolutely insightful question. Anwuli, thank you for your time staying on the call. Also Rachel and Zakari, a couple of people left already, but I want to say a big thank you to everyone who joined in. Please don't forget to follow us. We are A Tech Radio on Instagram. All we do at Africa Tech Radio is talk about technological advancement, and we do this every other day. I mean, even while others are sleeping, we're checking on what's new and what's the innovation that is coming close to us, and we're reporting around Africa in general. We also have some great episodes just in case you're looking for what to listen to. Very, very informative and educational, and would love to welcome you guys to this side of the world, the tech world basically. My name is Buki. I'm your host for the day. I do cruise control Monday to Friday, midday till 2 p.m. Yes, this is the part I say thank you so much, and do have yourself a wonderful, wonderful day and rest of the week. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to catch up on all the live shows right here on africatechradio.com.